The land of epic mountains, endless skies, and more cows than people. This is Montana. But beneath the breathtaking beauty lies a reality that sends most folks running. Think freezing winters colder than your ex's heart. Towns so remote they make Wi-Fi a luxury, and home prices climbing faster than a grizzly up a pine tree. This isn't just country living, it's extreme living. So why does a state this massive, this magical, remain so empty? From the job market that's barely ticking to wildfires, aging towns, and total isolation, we're uncovering 10 wild reasons why almost nobody lives in Montana. Number 10, harsh winter. Imagine waking up to snow so deep it swallows mailboxes whole, and it's only October. Welcome to Montana, where winters don't knock politely. They crash in like a freight train of frozen chaos. Some places here plunge to minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit, colder than a freezer on steroids. It's not just cold, it's survival mode. For 5 months straight, life slows to a crawl. Highways become ice rinks, and forget grocery runs unless you've got chains on your tires and a backup snowmobile. Eastern Montana is so frigid, it's been compared to Siberia. Yes, that's Siberia. Glasgow, dubbed America's most isolated town, is a chilling 4-hour drive from any city with over 75,000 people. That's like driving from Los Angeles to San Diego just to find a Target. And this isolation? It's not some Instagrammable off-grid dream. It means no DoorDash, no Starbucks, and definitely no quick visits to the ER. If you're sick in winter, you better hope the local moose has medical training. While Montana dazzles in photos with its wild mountains and endless skies, living here can feel like you're trapped in a snow globe with no exit button. It's beautiful, yes, but brutally lonely. Most folks just aren't built for this kind of raw, remote living. That's why, despite its massive land, 147,000 square miles, Montana barely tops 1.1 million residents. It's like giving every person their own national park, and still having space left over. Epic? Absolutely. But for most Americans, the freezing solitude just isn't worth the postcard. Number 9. Too far from everything. Isolation Nation. Now imagine needing to drive 6 hours just to hit a proper airport. That's the Montana vibe. It's not just rural, it's epically remote. The state is the 4th largest in the US, but ranks 44th in population, which means there are more cows than humans. Literally. In fact, Montana has about 2.6 million cattle and only 1.1 million people. If you break down the numbers, that's 7 people per square mile. New Jersey, by contrast, crams in over 1,200. It's like Montana is the chill introvert of America, avoiding eye contact while New Jersey's the loud guy at the party. But here's the kicker. You don't just live in Montana, you live away from everything. Need a cardiologist? Good luck. Want to see a concert? Grab a tent? Want your Amazon Prime package in 2 days? Maybe in summer. If the delivery truck doesn't get eaten by a moose, most Montanans have to plan their lives like they're prepping for a mini expedition. Cities like Glendive or Miles City feel worlds away from big box stores, let alone cultural events. And even the larger cities, like Billings or Missoula, can't compete with the hustle of places like Denver or Seattle. It's scenic isolation, sure, but also logistical exile. For many, the sheer remoteness isn't charming, it's exhausting. If you thrive on convenience, spontaneity, or say, pizza delivery at 10 p.m., Montana might just ghost you entirely. Number 8. Jobs? If Montana's stunning wilderness could pay the bills, we'd all be millionaires with mountain views. But in reality, the job market here is like fishing in a frozen lake. Possible, but painfully slow. The state's unemployment rate hovers around 3.3%, which sounds decent, but don't be fooled. Many jobs are seasonal, low-paying, or linked to ranching, tourism, or government. In fact, the average annual salary in Montana is about $52,000 compared to $68,000 nationally. That's $16,000 less to work just as hard, often in tougher conditions. And if you're in tech, finance, or creative media, forget it. Opportunities are slimmer than a bison on a keto diet. Bozeman and Missoula are trying to reinvent themselves as startup hubs, but they're still tiny players in a global economy. For many young professionals, there's a Montana catch-22. You either stay for the lifestyle and sacrifice career growth, or leave to build a future, only to dream about the mountains later. That's why so many Montanans leave after college. And even locals joke that you can't eat the scenery, which is hilarious until you're struggling to find a full-time gig with benefits. The state's biggest employers are still universities, hospitals, and the government. Great if you want a stable desk job, but not exactly the stuff of big ambitions. So while Montana may be a paradise for fly fishing guides and wildlife rangers, it's less friendly to coders, designers, or anyone chasing corporate dreams. Number 7. The gray state. Aging faster than you think. Montana isn't just wide open, it's also getting older. The state has become one of the grayest in the West, with over 20% of the population age 65 or older. That's nearly 1 in 5 Montanans, compared to about 17% nationwide. And in many rural counties, it's even higher. Some small towns feel more like retirement homes than communities. Picture main streets with more walkers than skateboards, and pharmacies outnumbering coffee shops. Schools are shutting down from lack of kids, and the average age at town meetings keeps ticking upward. This aging trend isn't just a demographic quirk, it's an economic iceberg. A shrinking youth population means less innovation, fewer workers, and lower consumer demand. And it snowballs. Young people leave because there's nothing to do. Businesses close because no one's hiring, and older residents are left with limited services. It's a cycle that's tough to break. Even healthcare, ironically more needed as people age, is stretched thin. In some towns, the nearest hospital is over 100 miles away. It's not just inconvenient, it can be dangerous. Retirement communities are growing, yes, but they aren't replacing the vibrancy of diverse, multi-generational neighborhoods. And when towns start depending on the same people to run the post office, teach third grade, and volunteer at the fire department, burnout becomes real. Montana isn't dying, it's graying. And for energetic families or young adults chasing nightlife, career energy, or just a place where things feel alive, that can be a serious deal breaker. Number 6. Infrastructure? More like bare-bones frontier. Living in Montana can feel like stepping into a gorgeous, untouched painting, but don't expect that painting to have Wi-Fi, paved roads, or a hospital around the corner. Much of the state's infrastructure is, to put it bluntly, stuck in the 1980s. Rural broadband? Spotty at best. In fact, according to the FCC, over 20% of Montanans lack access to high-speed internet, and in some areas, even cell service is as mythical as a unicorn. Try FaceTiming your grandma from Big Timber. You might have better luck with smoke signals. And healthcare? Many counties don't even have a single practicing doctor. Over 1/3 of Montana's counties are designated health professional shortage areas. Need surgery? You might have to drive 200 miles. That's not a metaphor, that's reality. Schools are closing due to dwindling student populations, and even postal delivery in remote areas can take days. Public transit? Basically non-existent outside a few towns. It's not just inconvenient, it can be life-altering. Want to run a business? Good luck doing e-commerce on dial-up. Want to raise a family? Hope your school isn't 50 miles away. Sure, the open land is peaceful, but when you're commuting 2 hours just to buy printer ink or get a flu shot, the charm wears thin. For many Americans used to next-day Amazon, food delivery apps, and Uber rides, Montana's infrastructure feels like hitting rewind on the modern world. And not in a cool vintage way, but in a please send help kind of way. Number 5. The housing paradox. Too expensive for the locals. Here's the plot twist no one saw coming. In a state known for its wild spaces and sparse population, housing has become insanely expensive, especially in cities like Bozeman, Missoula, and Whitefish, where a population boom from remote workers and retirees has collided with limited housing stock. In Bozeman, for example, the median home price hit $750,000 in late 2024, more than double what it was just 5 years ago. That's more than Los Angeles suburbs like Riverside. Locals making Montana's average salary of $52,000 a year can't compete with Californians buying homes in cash. It's like showing up to a poker game with pennies while everyone else brings gold bars. The result? Lifelong residents are being priced out of their hometowns. Teachers, nurses, and firefighters are commuting from miles away or leaving altogether. Even rentals are nuts, with average two-bedroom apartments in Bozeman hitting $2,000 a month, and that's without parking or a view. The state simply wasn't built for this kind of migration. Zoning laws limited new construction, and environmental protections slow down building. So now you've got ghost towns in one part of the state and bidding wars in the other. It's a bizarre paradox. Montana's reputation for wide open space is clashing hard with a surge of new residents seeking elbow room. For young families or first-time buyers, it feels like the frontier dream got flipped into a high-stakes Monopoly game, and they're losing fast. Number 4. Nature's playground or disaster zone. Montana's wild beauty is legendary, but Mother Nature here doesn't always play nice. Sometimes she slaps. The state faces some of the most extreme natural hazards in the country. Wildfires are a seasonal menace. In 2021 alone, over 900,000 acres burned in Montana, choking the skies with smoke for weeks. That's larger than the entire state of Rhode Island going up in flames. Summers bring droughts so severe that rivers dry up, crops fail, and towns impose water bans. Winters? Blizzards that shut down highways, strand entire communities, and collapse barns under 3 feet of snow. Oh, and don't forget earthquakes. Western Montana sits on the Intermountain Seismic Belt, a fault zone that's capable of producing serious quakes, like the 7.3 magnitude quake in 1959 near Yellowstone that killed 28 people and created a lake overnight. Tornadoes, hailstorms, flash floods, they're all part of the Montana weather menu. Living here means keeping an emergency kit year-round. And wildlife? It's not all cuddly bears and majestic elk. Encounters with grizzlies, mountain lions, and even wolves aren't just National Geographic moments. They're real risks. Hikers carry bear spray like city folks carry umbrellas. All this unpredictability makes insuring a home expensive, farming a gamble, and outdoor life a calculated risk. Sure, it's an adventure. But for those craving stability, Montana's raw, wild energy can go from exhilarating to exhausting. Nature is the landlord here, and she's got serious mood swings. Number 3. No big cities, no big buzz. Montana is the only U.S. state without a city over 200,000 people. The biggest? Billings, hovering around 120,000. That's smaller than a single Los Angeles neighborhood. There's no New York-style skyline, no endless nightlife, and no booming tech hubs here. While charming and clean, these cities often lack the buzz and cultural heartbeat that attract young professionals. Forget morning traffic. It's more like moose crossings. Want to catch a Broadway play, upscale sushi, or a major league game? Hop on a plane. Even movie releases and big concerts often skip Montana altogether. And without a large population center, job diversity and economic dynamism are limited. Many who crave career growth, artistic scenes, or multicultural energy simply head elsewhere. The vibe is more cowboy boots than coffeehouse poetry slams. Sure, that's great for those who want peace and solitude, but for many, it feels like life's volume got turned way down. If you're 25, ambitious, and looking for fast-paced opportunity, Montana may feel like living in airplane mode. Quiet, scenic, but disconnected. It's not that people hate Montana, it's that Montana's lifestyle just isn't built for everyone, especially those seeking the rush of the big city dream. Number 2. Long history of depopulation. Montana isn't just sparsely populated. It's been losing people for over a century in certain regions. Since the 1920s, much of eastern Montana has experienced what historians call the depopulation of the Great Plains. Why? Agricultural mechanization reduced the need for labor. Families who once thrived on 160-acre homesteads moved away when tractors replaced 10 farmhands. Add harsh weather and economic downturns, and entire towns simply withered. Drive through counties like Garfield or Petroleum, and you'll see it. Ghost towns, empty schools, boarded-up gas stations. In fact, some counties now have fewer than 1,000 residents total. It's a sobering sight. Stunning land, endless skies, but no people. Even now, young adults often leave after high school, seeking education, jobs, and modern amenities elsewhere. Montana's population is slowly growing overall, but only in pockets like Bozeman and Missoula. Vast areas are still bleeding residents. Once vibrant communities are now memories, kept alive by history signs and fading family farms. And when towns shrink, services go with them. No hospitals, fewer teachers, no grocery stores. It's a feedback loop. Fewer people mean fewer opportunities, and fewer opportunities mean even fewer people. It's not abandonment. It's a quiet migration away from hardship toward hope. Number 1, it's wild, but that's not for everyone. Montana is wild in the truest sense of the word. Untamed, breathtaking, and often unforgiving. It's where you can hike for hours without seeing a soul, where the night sky explodes with stars and silence hums louder than city traffic. But that same wildness, it's exactly what scares people off. Not everyone wants to live 90 minutes from the nearest latte or drive 50 miles for a dentist. Montana is a place where self-reliance isn't just admired, it's required. Want to fix your roof, plow your driveway, and fend off a raccoon invasion in one day? Welcome home. The freedom here is vast, but so are the responsibilities. In a world wired for convenience, Montana still runs on grit. And that's not a bad thing. It's just not everyone's thing. While national parks and rugged beauty lure in millions of tourists, most don't stay. They snap their Glacier National Park selfies, then head back to Wi-Fi, Target, and 24-hour pizza delivery. Living in Montana isn't about escaping. It's about embracing a lifestyle where nature rules, neighbors are few, and solitude is the default. It's raw, real, and profoundly beautiful. But for many, just visiting is enough.